Hi, everyone. What day is it today? Well, welcome back to ShamanSistas, and thank you for joining us again. My name is Nova.
My name is Gachi. And just really quick, as a disclaimer and reminder, we both do not know and understand everything about being a shaman, but we are here to share with you all our experiences. Also, today's topic will be very heavy. We will talk about our mental health and health issues before we started our journey and up until now. If this is a topic you are not comfortable with, please skip this episode, okay?
Okay, so before we get to like the heavy stuff, I want to share a funny a funny story with you all.
She's so
So,
stupid, y'all.
so when I was going to like raise my final altar, right, I had to go look for a goat, and obviously it for me that was like maybe the most stressful thing was like trying to find a goat. And then also we understand and respect that other lineages like don't use animals for their ceremonies. However, our lineage do use animals for ceremonies. Okay. So again, with my goat story, Gachi and I, we drive up to the goat slaughterhouse, right? So it's there, and I'm like asking the salesperson, like, oh, I need a male goat with, long horns. And then, of course, the goats are like right there, front row. So I go and I pick out my goat. It's so like when I see the goat that I want, it's so beautiful that I start shaking like my hand.
It was hilarious.
My hand started shaking, and I was like so it's just like when you're so nervous but you're shaking, but I was like so nervous and shaking because I was excited and was like, oh my god, like that's my goat. And so me and the salesperson, I should have got his name, but I don't know his name. Me and the salesperson, like we start talking, right? And then he's like, what are you using this goat for? Like, was it for like a bar mitzvah? I'm like, I kind of just like nod my head and whatever. And then he's like, well, what are you using it for? Is it for a sacrificial? I'm like, well, I'm actually using it because, in our Hmong community, we have Hmong shamans, and like I go the whole 9 yards of telling him,
Yeah.
yeah.
I was like, "Oh my god, just cut it short." I was like, "Ugh."
It was crazy. I don't know. I just had to tell him. I don't know because I was too excited. I don't know, but I had to tell him like the whole 9 yards of what it means to like have your first altar, your second, or or in your final altar, and why we need
It
this
was like,
go.
"You lost me."
Yeah. Well, anyways, so skip that part, right? I kind of explained it to him. And then he goes, where are you from? I'm like, well, I'm from, Sacramento. And then he goes, no, really, like, where are you from? And he gives me like this little shoulder, like nod thing. And I was like, oh, you're talking about my parents. Well, I tell him, my parents are actually from Asia, from Laos. And then I give him like a whole history, right? I tell him, yeah, they're from originally from Laos. And then there was like the Vietnam War. They had to fight the secret war.
She went way back.
They had to fight the secret war. From there, they ran to Thailand, and then they, got into the Thailand refugee camps. Once they were there, they had to apply for not for citizenship, but apply for the visa to get to come to the United States or be sponsored. Oh my god, I can't talk. Be sponsored to come to the United States. I told them, well, eventually in 1970s, my parents came to the United States.
Stupid. You guys, she was so nervous, like, when she was paying him out, she was, like, shaking. She couldn't grab her money. I was just like, "Okay, alright."
It was so funny. He was like, can you write your name and number on this piece of paper, on the receipt and stuff? So I'm writing my name, and my hand is shaking. I'm like, oh my god, how am I going to write my name? And then I didn't even know how to hold the paper, so
No.
it would be right, like, flat on my palm, so I can have it at the back to support the paper so I can write on it. I mean, eventually I did, finally got it. But yeah, I was like so happy. I almost gave him a hug.
I know, and he had, like, he was bloody, obviously, because he works in a butcher, That's what it's called, right? Brain fart. I was just whatever, y'all know where he works.
Yes. Anyway, that is my story. So now we'll begin to share our mental health experiences. Again, the experiences that we share can be a little bit heavy, depending on who is listening. So we advise that if you are not comfortable with the topic that we are going to talk about today, you can exit now.
Yeah.
So Gachi, can you go ahead and share about like any like mental health and health issues that you had before you started your journey?
Yeah, of course. I know I dealt with, like, a lot of health issues to begin with. I remember a few years back, just like out of the blues, I started getting like pain, like pretty much like migraines or, minor migraines. I don't know, major migraines. Who the hell knows? So, like, I started getting like migraines nonstop. It will start from the morning, it will go all day, it won't end. Like, even sleeping at all did not help me at all. So,
I
I swear
remember
to God,
you were
I went to work.
so cranky.
I know I was. So I swear, like, I went to work with salampas on my head every day. I smelled like an old grandma every day because I used, that little pink Asian medicine to massage my head and everything. So I went to work like super sick. And then, like, I believe I would say 5 to 6 months in, while having, migraines and everything, I finally went to go get checked up to see what it really was, because I thought, it was probably like a, health issue or whatever it was. Um, I did, like, get tested and everything, and it came back as, I was anemic, or had
Mhm.
anemia or whatever it was. So that's what I thought I had for the longest, up until, like, obviously it did go away after a while, like after a year or so, and everything. And I started changing my diet as well. So I think that did help. So it could have been that, but who really knows? It comes and goes, really. And then, just like a little bit after that, having a migraine issue and everything, I, I just pretty much like, um, let's see, like, I don't know, like, I went into, like, a breakup, a really bad breakup, actually. It was really bad. So, like, that just kinda, like, threw me, I don't know, like, upside down. I wasn't myself no more, and it wasn't even like that breakup. It was kinda like, 'cause I was actually mentally ready to leave because it was a very toxic relationship for me.
Yeah, I remember.
But I just lost it. Like, I just went insane. Not really, but, like, I didn't know what to do with myself anymore at that point because, like, it was just like, what is that word? I don't even know. Like, I never imagined myself being by myself, a single mom. I have never imagined that at all. So, like, just a little bit after that, I did meet somebody who I thought, was the one. Of course, everybody meets one of those.
One of those mistakes or one
Yeah.
of those what?
Lessons. So I, like, with this other person that I was with, um, he was the way he was to me because of the way I was already myself going through a lot of mental health and mental issues. Um, he wasn't really much of a help. Like, I'm not trying to bash him in any way, but then the way that relationship went during that time or whatever happened during that relationship
Mhm.
wasn't the best. So during that whole time, like, you know, I had people calling me, like, family members and that significant other at that time, calling me crazy. You need help and everything. Like, you need help
Oh,
with
that was
this.
me.
Yes, it was her too, you guys. I know, right? So, like, I reached out to a specialist and everything, a mental health specialist and everything. I started going to therapy, and, like, right up before I was prescribed medication, you know, drugs, um, my world just like sort of turned around. Like, not that it really turned around, but then like I finally found out, what it was that was bothering me so much, even though I couldn't, because you can't explain this mental health or this
Yeah.
mental illness. Like, it's nothing you can explain. Like, I swear, like every night up until like I found out that I was gifted and everything, and that's what kind of turned things around for me and helped me. I was going on late night drives, like out to Vallejo, San Jose. I don't even fucking know. Like, I was
Wow,
going
that's far.
anywhere, like late night music blasted. I was smoking like crazy. And mind you, during this time, it was pandemic. The COVID just started, so I was working from home during this time. I would wake up and drink Henny every day, like it's like water.
Yeah, I
And
remember you posting it on
yeah,
your social media. I was like, "Man, this
yes.
girl's going crazy."
I know. And then, like, even one of my sisters, my older sisters were like, she posted this meme, and then it was something to like, the picture was like seeing a girl pouring honey into her cereal, and the other person asking, "Are you okay?" And then me replying back, "No, I'm okay, but I'm pouring honey to my cereal." Basically, I was drinking and eating honey as a diet. That's how bad it was. And then, like, up until I really did like figure out that, okay, I am really gifted, because I have an aunt who really helped me through that. Everything just kind of changed. Like, that worrisome in me, or that anxiety I had, or just that lost feeling I had, like it went away, and I was no longer feeling like confused or lost or lonely. I just I was like a part of me found myself. So I found myself pretty much because, going back to like what we said in our first podcast and everything, I accepted things right away. And that's what I felt like saved me. Like, it really did save me. And after all, I found out, okay, I don't really need therapy. It's not the therapy. Even my guys were able to tell me, don't take the drugs. It's not going to help you, because obviously it's not going to help me. Like, why should I take the drugs? Sorry, knowing if it's going to help or not. Like, it's not going to help. So, that's what I had to struggle with prior to, raising my altar and like, becoming a shaman. But after that, after like I raised my altar and everything, I did get married to my wonderful husband now. He's very helpful. So like I got married to him, and like with the whole traditional, like, the monk tradition and everything, I guess I couldn't bring my altar home with me like the next weekend. So it was like it also like made me go insane. Like, I was so emotional. I remember calling Nova and like talking to my other, shaman sisters and everything. I was always crying. I was so sad. My guides were so sad. Like, I never wanted to be home, where I live now, like, because my altar was never here. My altar was back at my mom's house, my parents' house. So I always wanted to be there because it's closer to them, and I was like able to connect with them even though they do travel with me. Um,
Mhm.
it was just a really sad, like very, very, very lonely and sad 3 months because my altar wasn't home. And I just felt so like my home was like very dark and everything. Like, there was no light. And as soon as I was able to bring my altar home, I just felt like the house a little bit, a little bit light up.
Just a little, huh?
Just a little.
Okay.
Yes. So, like, that's what I had to go through, like, my mental health that I had to go through was so tough, like, and if I I actually wanna share this if you don't mind. Um,
Yes, go for it.
so during the whole time that after I retrieved my altar to my current home, I'm actually like, I was pregnant during that time as well. So it was even harder for me, even though I got my altar back with me. That was a big relief, but I couldn't no longer go on journeys. because I was with child and to protect me, from, catching other spirits, other entity, I didn't want to enter the spiritual world because, it's not safe for my baby and my unborn child during that time. So I freaking went through hell for that whole 9 months. I
It's really
was,
good. It's like more.
yeah,
It was
yes,
actually more.
yes. It felt like it was forever. But it was so sad, like, every day, I swear, my guides will, like, snitch on me to, like, my master or my sister, my shaman sisters, saying how sad they are because I don't do this, do that anymore. I'm just like, "Hello, like, I'm pregnant, and I can't
Yeah.
do that." But then, like, every time I would go and get, like, chua, from, like, my shaman sisters or whatever, whoever it was, like, that would be, like, one of the main issues, like, "She can't take us to go, tour the world." I'm just like, "Okay, I'm very sick and pregnant, okay?"
Like, hold your horses.
I know. So, that was, like, very tough on me, and until this day, actually, my mental health got a lot better after, my 9 months and my 2 months of waiting. I'm a lot better now. So, it really is serious, like, you don't really know when it's gonna come back. So, that's my part of, my mental health and my health issues. What about you, Nova? Did you experience anything like that or similar?
Yeah, I think mines were similar, but for like different reasons. So, just starting with my health, right? Going more into details about like the health issues that I have leading up to finding out that I was spiritually gifted. I remember like I would have, and this is just within like the last 3 years, I remember having like intense lower back pain. Like those back pains were so bad, but they would only come once in a blue moon, right? So the back pains would get so bad, and it wouldn't matter that I took like two Tylenols or whatever.
That's
Maybe
not
my
gonna help
Tylenol
you.
was strong enough, but that's the strongest over the counter medicine that I had.
You need a narco.
I know it was awful because I would like be laying on my bed and I would need to get up to go use the restroom, and it would be so painful.
That was like me during pregnancy. I know the pain.
Yeah, it would be so painful. I couldn't get up. Like my back was hurting so bad. I had to like kind of not even crawl, but like kind of shimmy, shimmy out of bed.
Like a worm.
Yeah, it's like a worm.
You
I
poor
just
thing.
imagine a caterpillar. But yeah, like
Ew,
yeah,
that's
yeah, that
disgusting.
is disgusting. But I really had to like shimmied out of bed, and even when
I
I
could
got
just
to the edge,
imagine.
this, this is not supposed to be funny, but I
I
can't
know.
even stop laughing. But so I would get to the edge of the bed and I would try to like get off. I couldn't even move. And it was so painful. You're awful.
Okay. Okay, sorry.
Okay. Okay. Back. Okay. So it was so painful that I would like cry. I would cry. Fucking Kachi is laughing her head off right now. So yes, anyways, let me just continue while she mutes herself. So anyways, I would get to the end of the bed and it would hurt so much, and even when I'm shimmying down that I would literally cry. Obviously, it's funny now. But at that moment it was not funny. So yeah, so I had, those lower back pains, and again, it's like once a month it will come. I did like maybe the year 2020, right before I found out that I was gifted, like I started having small like heart pains, and I thought I was gonna have like a stroke or heart attack. So I went to go see my doctor, and we actually got a heart monitor for me,
Mhm.
and it monitored my heart for a couple weeks. And then
Wait, when was this?
huh?
When was this?
Bitch, we were not talking at this time.
I was just gonna say that.
Yeah, this was actually when you were going through your own,
Oh my
your
gosh.
breakup
Oh
with
my
your ex.
gosh.
Yeah, this was actually in 2019. Sorry, not
Wow.
2020.
So she was still the bitch sister, so it's
Yeah,
okay.
that's why she wasn't talking to me, so she doesn't know any of this. But yeah, so I wore
Oh,
heart monitor for
okay.
like a couple weeks, and then I mailed in the monitor, back to my doctor. The results came back normal, which I was like, "Oh, okay, like everything's fine." But then like after that, my left eye started hurting. Like, stop laughing.
Sorry, it's not funny, but
I know. It's what's funny now, but it wasn't funny then. Okay.
no.
So my left eye, I don't remember what was wrong with it, but it just started hurting so bad. Like I remember like going out one night with my partner and our friends, and I was such a bitch because my eye was hurting so bad, and I was trying to put eye drops in there. It didn't work, like nothing worked. But eventually, like I think after a week or so, it went away. So yeah, like that happened. So those were like the small physical health issues that I started to have and kind of like led up to me finding out.
Mhm.
Of course, after I accepted and I started my spiritual journey, my emotions, like just during that first month, my emotions were so high. Like it was so easy to make me upset.
Yeah, I
And
remember that.
every yeah, every little word like my partner said to me, it like I was just so sensitive. I couldn't take a joke, which is
No,
crazy because I like, was okay. I was like okay before, but then now, like, during that time, everything he said, I got upset instantly. Like, it just wasn't the right words, it wasn't the right words. And I didn't know how to control myself. And I didn't know how to also tell him in words, with words, how I was feeling. So even though I had like, everyone around me and my shaman sisters and my sister, my husband, my kids, like it felt very lonely and sad because they like, I guess for me, like no one really understood the
yeah,
loneliness that I felt. And I think like for each of us, like no one really kind of understand, like we can kind of empathize, but we don't really know,
what you're really
how, yeah, lonely and like how difficult it is to, enter the spirit world and like experience and see all these different things. So that was like, and it's sometimes like you can't even share it, and for me, I couldn't share it with my partner because he is and where he was very skeptic, and so I knew that, oh, if I said something, like he just might make a joke out of it, so it's gonna make me even more mad.
yes,
Like I can already see myself turning into a dragon and spitting fire out. So I
a
was like,
Hulk.
okay, I know. I was like, okay, let me not do that. But yeah, so just it was really difficult. And for me, like I knew that when I felt very high in emotions, I didn't want to be around anyone else because I didn't want to push my feelings, my emotions towards them, especially like for my sister and my shaman sisters. So I kind of like kept to myself when I was feeling like very high of emotions. And I think also, for me, there was a point where I really had to, in my journey, had to like take a step back and really kind of think about like who and how I guess how I want to continue as being me and now being split with like being a shaman, because I don't want to push, like I was saying, like push my emotions to anyone else or push like how I'm feeling to anyone else. And also like, on the other side of that, when there are others that are like highly emotional or like very anxious around me, I had to separate myself from them because I had to like make sure, what I was feeling was me and not
Right.
others. And I think that was one of the hardest part, and something that really, I think just difficult for me was
Yeah,
really,
like
separating that part.
yeah, like you were even able to like feel me when I was like anxious to leave. Like I wanted to leave. I'm like, oh my God, they ain't,
Yeah.
fucking leaving. I want to go. She would feel like my whole emotion. I'm just like, okay.
Yes, I swear, everywhere we go, Kachi is always in a rush. So I can always feel like she's like, like, oh no, like I gotta go. I'm just like, okay.
Yes, that's why I actually learned how to just drive myself there. If it's with Nova and like our other shaman sisters, I know to drive myself there. I'm like, I'll meet y'all there. I'm not about to go with y'all because they take so long where I'm like anxious to leave. I'm like, okay, I got a deadline. I gotta go. So yes. But just also going, adding into what Nova was saying, this also like goes back to like mental health for just anyone in general. And I believe this did happen to the both of us when like our family members or whoever it is are like what is it, comparing the both of us, like because our emotions are already so high, and them comparing us, how our journeys are, like especially for me because as we stated before, Nova's journey is a lot different from mine, and mine is a lot different from hers. Okay. Everyone just kind of like, wanted to say, how come you're not, doing this or whatever. So, like, just that little put down will like mess up my whole like vibe, my whole emotion. Like, it was really tough, in the beginning because, of course, like, as a starter, you didn't like, we don't know how to like push this feeling aside and just be like, it's okay. It's just what they think, not us. Because, becoming a shaman, you have to go at your own pace too. Like you learn this technically on your own, like you're you're in it by yourself. So of course it's going to take you a while to get where you would want to be. So just a little discouragements from like family members do like mess with my mental health. It did when I first started, but then now like I just kind of learned how to like, ignore it. Like because it doesn't happen anymore. It was just in the beginning because they were just like, oh, how come you guys are so different? Knowing that, we have the same, master and everything. But they don't realize that just because you have the same master, you're not gonna be at the same pace. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's something really
that is
big.
true. I don't think a lot of people realize, that each and everyone's journey is different and that the something that I experience can be different from Gachi, even though we both started at the same time. And then also, like just the different things that we can do are different. Like they're similar in some ways, but it's also different as well. So that, like Gachi said, was hard for our parents to
Yeah.
accept.
It really was hard for our parents to accept. And I believe in even like grandma, it was really hard for grandma to accept too,
Yeah.
because we were just so different and we still are so different, So just like, of course, we don't want to, I don't want to have jealousy like towards Nova because that's never healthy. It's not healthy. But of course, like in the beginning, like I'm just like, how come mine is different? I didn't understand why, but then after like really like understanding from our master that no one's the same, so that's like she just kind of explained a little bit to us that everyone has the same gift in some type of way, so just because you're not there doesn't mean you won't ever get there. So everyone's just like at their own level, pretty much, and
Yeah,
it's not a
everyone
competition.
is. And I think it's also like human nature too, right? To just like we can't control it, sort of,
Yeah,
to have these emotions or to feel like jealous or to feel, angry, upset. Like a lot of times, and that's also like another point where like I had to control my emotions because I had to really think about and ground myself about who I am, like who I want to be and who I am right now. And, I didn't want myself to change. I don't want myself to change. It is really just having to take a couple steps back, whether that was like, before, like a couple months before when I needed that break, that mental break, or even now, in going forward. It's important to know that, we all need to take a break for ourselves just to have that mental break and really remind us like who we are. And then going forward, just going with that thought of, who we are, being true to yourself, basically,
Right.
being true to yourself and really not changing anything.
About yourself. Yeah.
Yes.
And that's pretty much just how or what we need to do. We just need to trust and actually have a lot of trust and belief in our own self that we will get there. And again, it just goes back to everyone is different.
So, Gachi, can you close it off and share a scary story for us?
Yes, of course. I feel
I mean,
like,
of course, it's
yes, this is based on a true story. So if you're a scaredy cat, please log off now. But I find it funny because I feel like I have more scary stories than funny stories. Well, let's see. Which one shall I tell? So I guess I'll go with this one. So just before we started our podcast, right? Our very first podcast before we posted it up, just like that damn same day that we were recording, I was recording in my room by myself, and I stay upstairs and it's just me, okay? And all of a sudden, like as me and Nova are getting everything ready to go, and I'm on the phone with her and we're setting up my laptop and everything, like I just get this very eerie feeling, like my whole back, like I could just feel like all my hair sticking up from my hand, and like I just felt so scared. I'm just like, damn, what the fuck is this?
yeah, I
Well,
remember. She's like,
yeah,
"Can we pause?"
I know. Like I had to pause to like not meditate, but then like calm myself down because I'm like, okay, I don't know what the spelling is. Like obviously I do know the spelling, first of all, because it's a scary feeling. So I was like, ugh. So I had to like open the windows and let the sunlight in. So I felt a little safer, but that didn't help. I remember because we recorded twice that day. Our first our first one towards the end was towards a question saying, "Are you still scared?" I was like, "Oh hell no, this bitch did not just ask that." Like, I was like, she did not just ask that. And obviously I'm like, duh, bitch, I'm still scared. But because, we still come across where we're always still scared because we don't know what to expect. Right. So like that was our last question in the first podcast that we recorded that was deleted, and somehow my part was deleted. You couldn't hear me at all, oddly. So like I was just like, as soon as that question came up, like I felt like this warm air just blow against my back, and I was just like, oh hell
Um,
no, bitch. I was like, oh no. Well, thank you so much for tuning in to Shaman Sisters. Stay on the lookout for our next podcast.
our next topic will be a surprise.